Hello and welcome. My name is Georganne Ford with the Alpha Center for Divorce Mediation, and we have one of our attorney mediators with us today, a guest, Debbie Schneider. Debbie's been here before. She's always got some great titles that will get us interested right off from the bat, and it's no different from today. Debbie's coming with a topic about a provision in the child support guidelines that when I read the article, I had no idea about. So another good reason to take your time to listen to these blogs from the Alpha Center. Always very helpful information. Debbie, tell us more about this provision.
All right. Well, thank you for having me, Georganne. So it's called the mortgage adjustment, and it's a provision within the Pennsylvania child support guideline system. As many of you know, I think there's an entire system that's been promulgated by the state of Pennsylvania that provides a calculator and laws governing the calculation and application of child support in Pennsylvania. And it's for couples with minor children and a divorce, it's almost universally applied. All right. Our clients at the Alpha Center, it's something who have minor children, it's something I would automatically do for them. I would use the software that has been developed for the calculation. We used to do this manually, but the software now has gotten very sophisticated, and it's wonderful. So I think all of us now use the calculation software.
I'm just going to stop for a second. That's so helpful to know that that's happening in mediation. Like, I would think, are we missing anything, or is anything not going to be brought up because we're going through mediation and we're not going through the courts? But there it is right there. You're using the same software anybody else is looking at.
Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely essential that we are able to replicate exactly what's done within each county in Pennsylvania. And as I said, it's promulgated by the state, so it's universal. I mean, yes, there are some within certain counties, there are some modifications, slight modifications in terms of practices, but the state system is the state system, right? So I almost universally do the calculation for them, and it creates what's called a guideline amount. And there is a provision that, I think is often overlooked, but it's something I often use with my couples in mediation. And I think it's really helpful. And as I said, it's called the mortgage adjustment. And it allows for additional support to be allocated to either spouse, depending on the circumstances. All right. So if one person first of all, I should backtrack a minute. The child support guidelines always assume that if a party is staying in the marital home, that they are going to be economically responsible for the mortgages, either singular or multiple, the real estate taxes on the property, and the homeowner's insurance. So those are the three big ticket items in terms of maintaining a property in most circumstances, right? So you look at those three components, and if the aggregate of those three components for the person that's staying in the home is more than 25% of that person's net income, and that includes all the other funds they may be receiving. So the net income includes what they also might be receiving in terms of alimony, APL, or spousal support or child support. Then the adjustment allows for 50% of that amount, calculated amount, to be added to the child support obligation of the higher earning spouse. All right.
So a couple of questions. What's APL?
APL is alimony pendente lite. Okay. And pendente lite is Latin. It means pending litigation.
Oh, thank you.
There is a component that, for couples in litigation. Now, frankly, we don't, as mediators, because our couples are not in litigation, APL is a non-entity for us.
Okay.
Okay, and frankly, I think it is even for many practitioners who are litigating for couples.
So so it's up to if that all totals up to be more than 25% of my net, or
of that
his
person's net income, right? Then there is an additional amount, and that amount can be added to the child support obligation for the higher earning spouse. All right, and what's interesting is it works the other way. So if the obligor, okay, the person who's obligated to make payments, if they're in the house and the mortgage payments and the real estate taxes and the homeowner's insurance are more than 25% of their net income after they have paid alimony, APL, and child support, then it's possible for their obligation to be reduced accordingly. All right. So it works in both directions. Okay. Now, at the Alpha Center, as I said, we always do this calculation, but we always recommend that our clients do budgets. And that is the way for us to really get to people's needs and how to successfully allocate the funds they do have between the two households, right? So I tell my clients that, the child support calculation, we're going to look at all of those numbers and then we'll look at the budget. So we want to look at it both directions.
Are we looking at, so you're saying we would make budgets separately for our new life?
Correct.
Oh,
Yeah, correct.
so helpful to do that.
Oh, it is. And for many couples, it's very empowering, frankly, because a lot of couples, now some couples are very good budgeters, right? And they know where every penny that comes into their household goes. But many people don't. They don't, they just know that money comes in, it goes out, right?
Quickly.
Cash flow, whatever, whatever you want to call it, right? But for many couples, they don't know those particulars. So the budgeting process for us starts with our recommendation to these couples that they start with what they're presently spending. Okay, so they, what their singular household spends, and then they look at, then you transition to separate households. So the budgeting process is, I think, like I said, very empowering because people can suddenly understand how much money they do need rather than thinking and being anxious that they're not going to have enough.
Peace of mind.
Right. Oh, yeah, it's helpful. And I've had clients who didn't do the budgets for whatever reason, and then we'll sit down together and they'll say to me, "Oh, I wish I'd done a budget." Right? Because they recognize that, that would be helpful for them to have some better knowledge of maybe what the numbers might look like, right? I mean, divorces almost universally contemplate creating a second household, right?
Right.
Living in one household, and you need to create a second one. So how does that work? And the budgeting is helpful for that, right? It's very helpful for that. So the mortgage adjustment is a tool. It's really a tool that's provided by the laws to help people understand how to manage and allocate their money.
Right, and it's also sounds like to make things fair.
It is. Oh, absolutely.
To make things more of a fair situation, which is all the reason why we come to mediation and not hopefully compromise and not be letting the courts decide that for us.
Right. I mean, couples have much more ability to make these decisions for themselves. I like to describe our mediation process as empowering couples, right? So we're going to tell you what the law says, and we're going to tell you how it works, but we want you to really feel empowered by these realities to make your own decisions and to make smart decisions. And couples are really very good at it. Many of them do a great job.
And how many people go through a divorce and feel empowered?
Right. Oh, it's true. I mean, yeah, unfortunately, the litigation almost does the opposite for couples.
Right. That's what I'm thinking of. Definitely would choose empowerment.
Right.
Yeah.
They understand that they can be empowered. I think most couples want to do that. Will choose.
Well, that you have taught us something, a provision I've certainly never knew about. I hope those of you out there have also learned about this. And you could call the Alpha Center. They'd be happy to answer any questions about this provision or questions
Sure.
that you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. Any of the attorneys there can address this. And there's a fair amount of material online. I don't recommend that you read all of it because some of it's not helpful, but there is a fair amount of material online that can give you some basic knowledge about some of this. But all of us at the Alpha Center, the attorneys certainly can help with this information about this topic.
Great. Debbie, let me just give that quick phone number. It's 1-800-310-9085 for anybody who wants to reach out. There's other blogs you could read from the Alpha Center on their website, alpha-divorce.com. Anybody's happy to chat with you and answer any of your questions. So Debbie, thanks so much for being our guest today.
Thank you, Georganne. I enjoyed it.